my name is Jaina and welcome to the Tech for Seniors video tutorial series. This video has been developed with older adults in mind. We've custom-made each video to address the needs of seniors and commonly asked questions when using an iPad. This video is a supplement to Class 1 entitled It's All About Touch. The video is all about iPad basics. So we'll go over how to take care of your iPad, the anatomy of an iPad, battery life, how to use your iPad, and connecting to Wi-Fi. You may notice that some of the skills you learn in this video series are repeated on multiple videos. We do this on purpose, as a refresher, as well as to encourage you to continue practicing what you learn in class. Remember that if you feel like the video is going too slow, you can always speed up the video to go faster. Similarly, if you feel like the video is going too fast, pause the video to catch up. You don't have to learn at the same speed as the video. Now that you've received your iPad, it's important to understand how to care for your iPad in order to keep it in best working condition. The first thing you want to consider is to keep your iPad in a case. We know that depending on the case, it might be a bit cumbersome to use buttons or charge your iPad if it's a bulky case. This is why we suggest getting a slim, tri-fold case, as it is easy to use as well as protect your iPad. These cases can also double as a stand if you want to put your iPad down on a flat surface to watch videos or browse the internet. You also want to clean your iPad periodically. Avoid window cleaner and other chemicals, especially those containing ammonia. This is because they can ruin the special coating on the touchscreen. Instead, use a lint-free, scratch-resistant cloth like the ones you would use to clean your eyeglasses. Use it to wipe off the smudges or fingerprints on the screen of your iPad. The top, sides, and back of the iPad may not be covered with fingerprints, but benefit from a good cleaning. Now that you know how to protect and clean your iPad, let's talk about the anatomy or parts of the iPad. When we talk about the iPad, we will reference the front, the top, the sides, the bottom, and the back of the iPad. For either charging cable, you need to connect your appropriate cable to the charging adapter or power adapter. This is what will be plugged into the wall for charging. You can use an iPhone charging adapter, also known as a cube, to charge your iPad, but it will charge slowly. Likewise, you will plug your iPad cable from your iPad to your computer or laptop, and that may not supply enough power to charge your iPad quickly. Let's take a moment here to practice locating the parts of the iPad. What we'll do is I'll say a part of the iPad, and I want you to locate it by touching it with your finger. So for example, if I say locate the speakers, you would point to the bottom of the iPad where the speakers are located. Okay, are you ready? Locate the volume buttons. Point your finger on the volume buttons. Now, locate the charging cable connector. This is where you would charge your iPad. Locate the charging cable connector. Next, locate the camera with better quality. There are two cameras on your iPad. Touch your finger to the camera that takes clearer photos. Up next, locate the headphone jack. Touch your finger to the headphone jack, where you can plug in your headphones. Lastly, locate the sleep and wake button. Which button do you press to turn your iPad on and off? So how did you do? As a reminder, the clearer resolution camera is on the back camera. The front camera is great for taking selfies, but is not as clear as the photos taken with the back camera. Remember, the more you use your iPad, the more easily you will be able to locate and use different parts of the iPad. Okay, moving on. Let's learn about the basic iPad features. The first feature we're going over is the battery icon. You can use the battery icon on the top right corner of your screen. Use this icon to check how much battery life you have left. Generally, you'd want to charge your iPad once the battery life is under 20%. Your iPad will give you battery life notice when it's 20% and 10% battery life. While we're on the subject of charging, let's talk about some key points for charging your iPad. For either charging cable, you will need to connect your appropriate cable to a charging adapter or power adapter. This is what will be plugged into a wall outlet for charging. You can use an iPhone charging adapter, also known as a cube, to charge your iPad, but it will charge slowly. Likewise, if you plug in your iPad cable from your iPad to your computer or laptop, they may not supply enough power to charge your iPad quickly. Take note that if your iPad is connected to a computer or laptop that is turned off, the iPad battery may drain instead of charge. Make sure you see the lightning symbol on the battery to know that your iPad is charging. If you do not see the lightning symbol on the battery while charging, your iPad is not being charged. Try disconnecting your cable from the iPad port and adapter. Then connect them again to see if the lightning cable allows you to see the lightning symbol come up on the battery icon. Try to make a habit of charging your iPad when it reaches 20% battery life. If your iPad battery becomes extremely low and turns off, it will take up to 2 minutes of charging before the low battery image appears. And it will take several more minutes before you can start using your iPad again. Okay, let's not drain our energy talking about battery life, and let's move on to how to use your iPad. In this next section, we're going to build upon what you've learned about the parts of the iPad and now understand how to use them. To turn your iPad on and off, press the sleep-wake button. Again, press the sleep-wake button to turn your iPad on. If you have the 3rd generation iPad, you can also push the home button when you wake your iPad. Pressing the home button will not turn off your iPad. When you first received your iPad, you learned how to set up your passcode. Log into your iPad by entering your passcode on the touch screen. Now we're going to review some basic gestures used to control your iPad. Pull up your control center by swiping from the top right corner to the bottom left corner, and adjust your screen brightness if needed. Now, exit the control center by tapping outside of the window. Remember, do not tap on any apps while exiting. Always tap on an open space outside of the window to exit. In addition to gestures, another thing you will use often is the keyboard. You can use the on-screen keyboard to type in any app that allows text editing. Examples of apps that allow text editing include Safari to browse the internet, YouTube to watch videos, Messages to text. Within these apps, you can tap in the text field in order to bring up the on-screen keyboard. A text field is a single-line, fixed-height field, often with rounded corners, that automatically brings up a keyboard when the user taps it. Use a text field to request a small amount of information. Let's open Safari to see an example of a text field. In Safari, you can bring up the keyboard by tapping inside the search bar. The search bar is a text field. See how the search bar has rounded corners. This is one of the best ways to identify a text field. With the on-screen keyboard, you have all the basic functions you would have on a desktop or laptop keyboard. Let's take a look at how to use the iPad keyboard. To type an uppercase letter, tap the Shift key, then tap the letter. If you want to type in all uppercase, tap the Caps Lock key until it becomes white. If you want to stop Caps Lock, then just tap on the Caps Lock key again until it turns back to its original gray. Pause the video here to practice typing a few words in the Safari search bar and changing from lowercase to Caps Lock. Now let's exit Safari by swiping from the bottom of your screen and up. Now open your Notes app, which is the yellow and white icon that looks like a notebook. We'll use this app to practice typing. When typing, you can end a sentence with a period by double tapping the space bar. See here, I'm double tapping the space bar to insert a period. In order to make an edit, tap in the area where you want to edit. See how I tapped between words to add a word in that place. You do not need to delete an entire sentence to make an edit within the sentence. From our classes, we noticed some seniors had trouble tapping on misspelled words to correct them. Remember, you don't need to push hard on the word. You just need a light tap on the word. If you tap with too much surface area of your finger, you might tap surrounding words. So take some time to practice lightly tapping on words or between them. Try tapping with lighter pressure or just use the tip of your finger for a more accurate tap. Then try to tap in the middle of a sentence to add or delete words so you can get used to tapping on a specific location within text. Now that you have practiced typing with letters, let's go over typing numbers, punctuations, symbols, and even emojis. To enter numbers, punctuations, or symbols, tap on the question mark 1, 2, 3 key. If you want to get back to the letters keyboard, tap the ABC key. Again, tap the question mark 1, 2, 3 key to access common numbers and punctuations, which include the @ symbol and is used often to enter email addresses. In order to access the @ symbol, tap the # + key. Notice how only the top 2 rows change no matter what numbers and symbols keyboard you're using. Tap these keys to look through all the symbols and punctuations available. From our classes, we realized that some older adults had difficulty switching from the letters to symbols and numbers. This happens because we often only need to go to the numbers and symbols keyboard just to type one number, then return to the letters keyboard. Additionally, there are 2 keyboards for numbers and symbols. Some seniors had trouble finding the @ sign and punctuation marks like the exclamation mark or period. Pause the video here and practice switching back from letters to numbers and symbols on your keyboard. Remember, if you need letters, tap the ABC key. The last thing we'll go over in this keyboard section is how to use emojis. Emojis are small digital characters or icons used to express an emotion, idea, etc. You've probably already seen people use these emojis if you haven't already used them yourself. The last thing we'll learn in this video is how to connect to Wi-Fi. You would have learned this on your original onboarding session when you received your iPad, but it's always good to review. Open Settings and tap Wi-Fi. Turn your Wi-Fi on so that the switch turns green. Your device will automatically search for available Wi-Fi networks. After you've given some time for different networks to appear, tap the name of the Wi-Fi network you want to join. Before you can join a network, you might be asked to enter the network's password or agree to terms and conditions. After you join the network, you'll see a blue check mark next to the network name. You will also see the connected Wi-Fi icon on the upper corner of your screen. If you do not know the password of a Wi-Fi network, contact your network administrator or the person who is in charge of your internet connection. Sometimes these passwords are very long and include many numbers and symbols. And because you may still be getting used to typing on your keyboard, you might still type incorrect letters or symbols in the password. This is why it's so important to take your time when entering a password to ensure that each key you press is correct so that you can be connected to Wi-Fi. From our classes, we found that some seniors thought they couldn't connect to their network. But what was actually happening was they tapped the incorrect key in the password, and that password was rejected. So again, be sure you type in the password slowly. And that's the end of Class 1. We learned how to take care of your iPad, the anatomy of the iPad, battery life, how to use and type with your iPad, as well as how to connect to Wi-Fi. I'm sure you learned a lot of new things today, and don't worry if you don't remember every single detail. The main takeaway is practice, practice, practice. The more you practice the skills you learn in these videos, the easier you will be able to use your iPad. Again, thank you so much for joining us. And remember, you are not alone. We're here for you and excited to continue assisting you along your journey to improve your skills in technology. Check out our other videos to learn more about how to use an iPad. Till next time, we'll see you back here for Tech for Seniors, where we're helping older adults learn technology one iPad at a time.